Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show today, we're going to talk about the history of the pumpkin.
We're going to talk about how to build your soil now for spring.
As well as Luke Ruggenberg, author and nurseryman, plus your garden questions. And that all starts right now. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. So glad you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program, whether you're in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Southeast Michigan, around the country, around the world, listening via the simple radio app, the TuneIn app, or through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com under the radio tab. That is our website. Whether you're on podcast replay or in-studio video replay, we thank you for taking time and allowing us to come into your world for a little bit to educate and entertain you. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
You can get a hold of us in a variety of different ways, but first we want to make you aware the executive sponsor of the program is Power Planter.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root-to-soil contact. Leave the shovel and the spade in the shed. Hand-welded and made in the USA, we offer lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com. They now have DeWalt drills on their site. Power Planter is now a distributor of DeWalt drills and offers 3 different drills to meet whatever need the customer might have. The website also suggests what drills are recommended for what size auger.
You can get a hold of us through the IV Organics communication hotlines.
IV Organics 3-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields prune and damaged surfaces on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, you can visit ivorganics.com. You can send us an email through the IV Organics 3-1 Plant Guard email inbox. That address is twvgshow@gmail.com. You can also text us on the Instant Access IV Organic 3-1 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline, and that would be 414-368-9311. Again, that's 414-368-9311.
You can text us anytime you want, day or night. We will get back to you, 414-368-9311. Well, as the fall time continues to fly by, we see pumpkins all over the place and a variety of different pumpkins. But do you know the origins of the pumpkin? Do you know how it came to be or what the background story of it is? We're going to go over some interesting information that you may not be aware of the pumpkin.
So pumpkins are believed to have originated in North America. Seeds from related plants have been found in Mexico, dating back to 7,000 to 55,000 BC.
5,500, 7,000.
Thank you.
That's a broad range there. 7,000 years ago to 5,500 BC.
Numbers are hard anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are, Joey and I looked this up, and there's 40 to 50 varieties of pumpkins. Joey was convinced that there was over 100, and
you see all these pumpkins. You look at catalogs and you look at seeds and you look at stores and all that, and you would think there's probably a bunch of different varieties of pumpkins in the world, hundreds of them. But yeah, there's between 40 and 50 actual categorized or classified pumpkin varieties in the world that are known. Obviously, there are some probably that are unknown, much like other varieties of plant life that people have cultivated over the years, but never have put it into the commercial cycling for purchase.
Right. So, and the name comes from originally the Greek word large melon, which is pipon, and then that was changed by the French into pompon, and then from pompon to pompion, and then we changed it from pompion into pumpkin.
I don't know which is the best term if we had to pick one. Yeah. But it's interesting. And that's the way a lot of our words, if you go back and look at the history of language, how the traditional word and then it's been changed over into what we are commonly known as the pumpkin today for this example. So that's interesting. Pumpkins contain potassium and vitamin A. So if that's something of interest to you. Also, we have found that when we personally juice a pumpkin, it is horrible. It is a terrible
it was bad.
Flavor. It's just, I don't know
if you want to call it a flavor. It is more or less like swamp water, possibly.
Swamp water would have been a pleasant beverage compared to what this juiced pumpkin was. I don't know what if it oxidized or what the deal was. They are 90% water, but the flavor and it was horrible.
So pumpkins are a member of the Cucurbita family.
Cucuba.
Yeah,
Cucurbita.
Yeah, there we go. Which includes squash and cucumbers, and also gourds.
Yeah, gourds is a common friendly family member of the pumpkin.
So the largest pumpkin pie ever made, and was this right?
Yeah, this from what we have found is accurate. The other one
was 5 feet in diameter, weighed over 350 pounds. It was 80 pounds of cooked pumpkin, 36 pounds of sugar, 12 dozen eggs, and 6 hours to bake.
Well, I'm going to say probably. Well, it would be proportionate to a small pie. It's not like 36 pounds of sugar is a lot, but for a pie that size, it would be. It would be the same. Now, pumpkins come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, from our traditional orange to pink to green, blue, white. They have names like cotton candy is a familiar one. Jardel is a great pie pumpkin in which has a bluish gray pigment to the skin, but a very thick orange wall inside of it with a very small seed cavity. The smoothest pumpkin texture you will ever find. So if you're able to pick some of those up at your garden center, at your grocery store, at your farm stand, Jardel is the one that we would highly recommend. If you don't grow them, buy a Jardel pumpkin and make pumpkin pie. You will not be disappointed at all with that particular variety.
Right. 80% of the pumpkin supply in the United States is available in October. So that's
makes common sense there.
Pumpkin time.
Yeah. Majority of them are grown in the state of Illinois. One of the nice things that Illinois has produced in regards to agriculture. 95%. So, and that's referring to the majority of what we classify as jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, the carving of just in general pumpkins?
In general pumpkins.
Right. But the majority of pumpkins in which we associate fall with is jack-o'-lanterns.
Right. And that variety is called the Connecticut field variety.
Yes. And those are edible. However, it is not good edible pumpkin. We have experimented with the procedure of canning, making pies with the traditional jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. There's two downfalls to that. One, it's a low sugar content inside the pumpkin, and it's extremely stringy. So it doesn't make for good pie puree. Whenever you get a pie pumpkin, per se, a pie pumpkin, it is a higher natural sugar content and a smoother texture of the meat inside.
It's meatier, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely a difference. And in early colonial times, pumpkins were used as the ingredient for the crust of the pie, not the filling. And
let's be clear that when we all went through elementary school and we saw the images of the Native Americans and the Pilgrims breaking bread at Thanksgiving with a pie, that didn't happen.
No.
That was an artist recreation of false history.
False history.
Yeah, there was no pumpkin pie for a long time. And I don't know how often the Native Americans and the invaders, the colonial pilgrims, sat together and enjoyed a meal.
I don't think that ever
very often, if any.
No.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Native Americans,
yes,
they flattened strips of pumpkins, dried them, and made them into mats.
Yeah, the skins.
Pumpkin mat.
Used them as floor mats or door mats.
They also use the pumpkin seeds for food and medicine. So that's another thing too.
Well, and that's the thing, and we don't get into conversations much of this on this program, but we have lost a tremendous amount of knowledge about the earth, what is good for the human body, what is not good for the human body, because Native Americans understood this plant kills you, this plant makes you better, this plant does that, and we've just said, hey, we don't care about that, we're going to take pills.
Right.
That's really the flat line of what has happened.
Well, at one point they used pumpkin puree or whatever for freckles and snake bites.
They would rub it on it?
Right.
Okay.
However, there's certain things you can buy that do have natural things that have pumpkin in it because it's high in vitamin A and that's good for your skin. So that makes sense.
Also, you can take a pumpkin, and this is any variety of pumpkin, and we have done this. You can take and chunk it up, chop it down, puree it, and dry it into a powder form, or dry it into a dry form, and then grind it to a powder, and make pumpkin flour or pumpkin seed flour. And the recommendations or how that is used is, 1 part pumpkin flour to 3 parts normal flour. It's a ratio in which you have to utilize. It can't be 100% pumpkin flour or 100% pumpkin seed flour. There is a mixture in which you have to use some form of other flours in order to bind them together. But it does create a nice orange texture, and it does add more nutrient to the dish in which, or the baking recipe in which you're making.
Right. So the largest pumpkin ever grown, or the heaviest, and was this guy. Excuse me.
The world record
has
been changing basically every week right now.
Well, this is the most recent by the Guinness Book of World Records. This guy named Matthias of Belgium set the current world record for the heaviest pumpkin in October of 2016 with a pumpkin that weighed 2,624 pounds.
That's quite a big. Now, I know that there's been records changing here in North America.
That's probably how much your car weighs.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's other things in which you can do with the pumpkin, roasted pumpkin seeds. Also, there is recipes in which you can take that glutinous slime, that slime that's in the pumpkin, and you can bake it and add sugar to it and actually create a candy of sorts with it. So, pretty interesting facts about pumpkins.
Pumpkin soup is good.
Yeah, pumpkin soup is good. So, interesting of where the origins of the pumpkin came from and how it has changed over time. And there are ways in which people are cross-pollinating pumpkins to get different varieties. But as we have found in our experience, the traditional heirloom varieties are the best because they have been around for the longest time and have adapted to things that have altered their growing conditions. So when we come back, it may be fall. You may be thinking the garden is done. However, there are things in which you can do now to, one, reduce the amount of time you have to put in the garden next year, but also to build your soil. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com.
Here at Outpost Natural Foods, it's not just that we're community-owned that sets us apart. It's the fabulous foods we sell. We celebrate Earth Day every day by offering our customers the finest natural and organic food selections in Greater Milwaukee. Outpost local farmers and vendors provide our stores with a delicious selection of fresh seasonal produce that you won't want to miss. Outpost stores are located in Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, Bayview, and Mequon. We're a real Milwaukee original where anyone can shop and anyone can join. For the whole scoop about Outpost, we invite you to visit www.outpost.coop.
The Norwalk Juicer is the best cold-pressed juicer on the market. Studies have shown the Norwalk Juicer produces 50 to 100% more juice than other juicers. And juice from the Norwalk is higher in minerals and nutritionally superior. Not only do you get more juice from your produce, but also better quality juice. Check it out at norwalkjuicers.com. Use coupon code GardenTalk to get free continental U.S. shipping on the Model 290 juicer. Do not let the freeze get you. This garden tip is sponsored by BioSafe. Organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products, from plant food to fertilizer to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Visit biosafe.net to learn more. And save 10% on your next order by using coupon code TWVG at checkout. Before it freezes, empty all of your outdoor water containers. Drain hoses, irrigation systems, and when you drain your rain barrel, put the water in your garden to deep water your garden beds.
Never question your garden soil again. Know what's in your soil with confidence. Professional grade soil test for the home gardener. My Soil Savvy has the easiest soil test on the market. Ship it to them, get your report, emailed with nutrients recommendation, and grow happy, healthy plants. MySoilSavvy.com. Use coupon code TWVG19 and save 10% at checkout.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Blue Mills has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Clyde's Vegetable Planting Chart, Dharmaceutical, Dr. Earth, Flame Engineering, Handy Safety Knife, Hydrobox, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, M.I. Gardner, Outpost Natural Food Co-op, Rootmaker, Soil Diva, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show. With your hosts, Joey and Holly Berg.
Dr. Earth is committed to clean and healthy gardening through creating cutting-edge, natural, and organic garden-friendly products. Based on research and innovation, after 28 years, they are the leader in the organic lawn and garden industry. They do not use ingredients such as biosolids or composted household waste or synthetic chemicals. Instead, they have manure-free fertilizers, organic soils, insect control, and liquid fertilizers. If you want to grow the best quality food organically to feed your family, that is the founding principles of what Dr. Earth is all about. They have experts to find the most innovative ways to help you grow your best organically. Visit drearth.com for more information and where to buy.
Well, fall is the time when people start shutting down their gardens, and maybe you have quit your garden much, much earlier. There are some people that garden from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and that is it. However, you may be in containers as well, and we'll talk about how you can build your soil for spring in that instance. But raised beds and traditional ground are platforms in which many of us garden, and the soil does get depleted of nutrients as we grow. We plant, the plant uses up what's in the soil, and we have to revitalize that soil in order to have a successful garden the following year. We cannot just continue to grow each year in the same soil and expect the same or better results.
So one major thing you can do for your garden is add leaves to it. Leaves are amazing. They're free, basically.
What's that? They're what?
They're free. You can collect them. I don't know if you want to say collect.
Yeah.
You can collect them, and you can put them on your garden. We've gone so far as to grab leaves from down the road.
Half a block on each side of the house.
Yeah. But if you do that, you do want to be aware of what you're grabbing. Sometimes people put other yard debris in that pile. So if you see something that is not leaves, you may want to leave it. Don't leave a huge mess. If your neighbors have worked hard to put them in the road and you grab the leaves and then you trail them all over the place, be respectful and kind.
And
leaves are nice because they break down, they feed your soil, they're organic matter. The worms love them. So there's many benefits to taking those leaves that are free and in overabundance in most areas and adding them to your soil.
Now, the application of putting the leaves on the garden can be as simple as just dumping them on the garden. However, there are some varieties, such as oak leaves, that are very large and very thick that will mat down. Now, if we're just covering the garden in the fall and we'll bring and rake back the leaves as we plant in the spring and use those leaves as a living mulch in the spring, not really necessarily a bad thing. Now, if you want to mulch them, you can, and that will allow the breakdown process to be much quicker because the particle size is smaller. And the worms and the microbial life will be able to bring it and eat it up quicker.
And when you layer those leaves, they can get moldy and...
Well, they're not moldy, but just matted.
Matted, yeah.
And
so that's one thing. It's kind of... Oak trees are kind of interesting trees. They're hard to grow, and then they also are... Their leaves are very tough, but that's okay. So you want to add your leaves. Now you can add your own compost or organic matter. If you've been composting all summer and you want to add that, you certainly can. You can just put it on top or spade it in, whatever you want to do.
One thing you want to be aware of is if you're composting in a hot compost method, which means the temperature is getting hot enough, 100 170 degrees for 72 consecutive hours to kill the viability of the seeds in which are in that compost pile, you'll have no issue applying that to your garden. Now, if you're composting in a cold method or a method in which the core temperature doesn't get to that high level in order to kill the seeds, and you broadcast that compost even in a completed form on the garden, seeds of weeds and other plant matter will be viable, and you can introduce a gaggle of weed seeds that you will have to deal with come spring.
Yeah.
With that, if you do have compost that is not completely heated to that, we utilize that in the bottom of containers, giant grow bags. If we're planting potatoes, we'll put it at the bottom of the pit or the furrow of where the potatoes is to smother that soil.
Right now, it's not helpful. So if you have hot compost that has killed the weed seeds, you should definitely use that. If you don't, then you probably don't want to. Otherwise, you might be fighting a bigger problem come next spring.
Soil testing. If we don't know how good our soil is, we cannot. There are certain signs in which a plant will identify that there is a deficiency or a surplus of a certain nutrients. However, we cannot just look at soil and go, that's a pH of this, that has high nitrogen. We have to get a soil test.
Especially, I've had a lot of people say, I just bought a house. I'm not going to garden this year, but I want to garden next year. What should I do now? One thing is definitely getting a soil test. If you don't want to get a soil test, or you have, the previous homeowner may have done some questionable things to that soil, then definitely think about investing in something like raised beds or containers. But definitely you want to plan ahead for a soil test. And Soil Savvy is soilsavvy.com.
MySoilSavvy.com.
MySoilSavvy.com. And they have a coupon code.
TWVG19. You get 10% off your purchase. And they send you the product, the device in which you put the samples of soil in. You send it to their laboratory. They will email you a 14-point analyzation email indicating surpluses, deficiencies, and how and what you should do in order to get your soil to where you need it to be in order to have healthy soil, in order to have good vegetables.
It's a very comprehensive test.
For a very low cost.
Right, definitely. Another thing you can do is cover soil. What's cover soil?
Cover the soil. We spoke heavily about it last week on our second segment about the coverage of the soil to prevent erosion, soil damage, even not necessarily over the winter, but when a crop is not growing there. You look at nature, there are not anywhere in nature where soil is bare. There is some type of vegetation that is growing or some material that is covering that soil in order to protect the microbial life, the soil web, the worms, all of that. It doesn't stay exposed. Man has allowed that to occur in the agricultural world, or in our instance, the gardening world. We leave the soil exposed, which the soil can get sunburn. It can erode from wind, rain, and other aspects of the environment. So we want to cover our soil, and there's several different ways in which we can do that by the leaves, straw, cover crops, of a variety of different. Yeah, let's talk about cover crops.
So cover crops are, what you do is you plant them. You don't grow your crops into a mature state. You just grow them, and then what you do is you mow it down and let that organic material lay on the soil, and then it's going to break down. The nice thing about cover crops is if you have an area that might be susceptible to erosion, it's going to help prevent erosion in that area. So you can use a cover crop for that. It's more more prominent with big agricultural farming, but it's something you can definitely do if you have a larger grow area or backyard.
And that's the other thing. Can we till the soil? Well, people religiously till the soil several times a year, sometimes spring and fall. However, we don't recommend it, but if you choose to till or agitate the soil in the fall, you can do that a rough till or a rough spade. Now this will, and then you cover it with a mulch of some sort, straws, grass clippings, leaves, in order to hold the erosion amount at a very low minimal. There would be no erosion there. The reason why, if you do this, you want to do it a rough till, you don't want to do a fine tilt, is so when it rains, the water doesn't run off. It will absorb into your garden soil, and will continue to hydrate the soil and the soil
or
web.
even the snow as it melts.
Yes.
And whatnot. So we've talked about a lot of do's. Let's talk about a do not.
Okay.
Do not fertilize your soil now. That even if you use a slow release fertilizer, by the time spring comes, you're just wasting your money. You might as well take your fertilizer and dump it out or throw your money in the trash.
Slow release fertilizers are effective 6, 8, maybe 10 weeks at maximum. Now you can add aged manure based on the origins of the manure and what type it is and how long it's been. You can work that in the soil or lay it on top and let the water work it into the soil and the microbial life. You can put that on top of your soil or the compost on top of the soil, put your leaves on top of that, and just walk away until spring, and you'll be amazed at how much that has worked itself naturally into the top layers of your garden. Now, quickly, let's talk about containers. If you're in a container of 30 gallons or less, the industry says you should dump all that compost out or all that potting soil out and start over. Well, we understand that that is money, that it costs quite a bit.
Right.
So anything smaller than a 30-gallon, anything smaller than, let's say, 30 gallons or less, yeah, you can dump that soil out and start over. Anything more than a 30-gallon grow bag or pot, just remove about 50% of the top 50%, top half, and then add new soil and add fertilizer at the time of planting, and you'll be good for another year. Even like a 5-gallon bucket, dump that out because that nutrient has been used up. But a larger container,
if you're going like a
60-gallon
tomato
grower,
or a couple of peppers, you definitely want to. They are heavy feeders, or even squash or something.
Yeah, 60-gallon grow bag, 40-gallon grow bag, 100-gallon grow bag. Just take about half of that out and utilize that. So that is how you can start building your soil now for spring. Well, Holly, your yard loves you, and people have neglected the yard. And the yard's like, why? Why have you left me? It's fall.
Why have you forsaken me?
Yeah, you've got summer's over, fall's here, kids are back in school. We got football and playoff baseball. The yard's going, why have you forgotten me? But you shouldn't have forgotten about your yard, should you?
No, because just because it's fall and we are distracted by other things, we don't want to forget about our yard and those Japanese beetles either. They may be gone, but they are not far.
If you don't do it now, you will regret it in the spring.
So yeah, definitely. They lay their eggs in your turf so that they can start again next year. So you can take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granule with a spreader, irrigate into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is Grub Gone easy to use, but it is the only non-chemical choice that is effective in controlling grubs. And the best part about this product, it is non-toxic to bees and other pollinators and beneficial insects. In fact, Grub Gone has no label restrictions for use around flowering plants, so you don't have to get on your hands and knees and remove those dandelions in the spring to apply it. Or even now, there are some dandelions that are coming up in our yard. So Grub Gone from Phylum Bioproducts. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. PhylumBioproducts.com. Love your yard now so you can enjoy it next spring. Do not go anywhere. When we come back, author and nurseryman Luke Ruggenberg will be with us. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Use Twitter to reach Joey and Holly at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG.
Power Planter is a family-owned earth auger manufacturer. The Power Planter earth auger will transform your garden experience. It helps homeowners and professionals complete almost any planting or digging project faster and more efficiently than using a shovel or a spade. Power Planter Earth Auger creates loose dirt when drilling holes, giving your plants better root-to-soil contact to help reduce plant loss for healthier, more beautiful trees, shrubs, flowers, vegetables, and grass. All of our augers are hand-welded and made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Shield and Seal vacuum sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com. Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow fruit and vegetables all year long. Strongest greenhouses available that will last a lifetime. Beautiful design available in any size and color. weather-resistant, energy-efficient to save on that heating cost. Mix and match with glazings to suit your climate. Sturdy and durable, they'll hold up to those heavy snow loads. They'll even add them to homes. For agricultural to lodging to entertaining, it's a great addition to any garden or landscape. Check them out at WisconsinGreenhouseCompany.com. Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated.
Pharmaceuticals essential oils are high grade, very pure, and high in quality. They have synergized blends made with the finest raw materials. For more information and to order, visit Pharmaceuticals.com.
Take the pain out of planting with the Pro Plugger 5-in-1 planting tool. Step, twist, pull, and you're ready to plant. Digs perfect size planting holes. Soil gets stored in the tube and empties from the top. Helpful for weeding. ProPlugger.com. Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit Bobex.com. BOBBEX.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
We may be coming to the end of our radio show season this year, but Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center is not shutting their doors for fall yet.
They have mums, they have corn stalks, they have pumpkins. They also have the largest selection of bulk material in the area, and they will be open until the snow flies and a little bit after that. They have compost, wood chips, sand, gravel, whatever you need for your landscaping needs.
You can find all of this at 4930 West Loomis Road, just south of Layton. You can call 414-282-4220 or go to Bluemel's.com.
If you're thinking about redoing your landscape next year, you can go in and they'll help you decide what is best for you. Bluemel's.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Berg.
Holly, let's go to the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Hotline and bring in our guest for the week.
Luke Ruggenberg is a gardener, nurseryman, and a writer. He lives in the Pacific Northwest with his wife and 2 kids. Welcome to the program, Luke.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, you guys. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for joining us. You've got some knowledge that you're going to hopefully enlighten on Holly, myself, and all of our listeners that we always enjoy having guests do.
Oh, great. Yeah, we'll see what I can do.
So you say every gardener has a truck, and when I say truck, I put it in air quotes. What do you mean by that, and what is your truck or your first gardening truck that you had?
So this comes from my first book, 20 Reasons Not to Garden and Why I Ignore Them All. It's basically, most gardeners would love to have a legitimate, real pickup truck, and it's just not possible for most of us because the trucks are expensive, and we can't all have it, but we have to get things from the garden center home one way or another. So more often than not, we just kind of convert whatever we're pushing around or wheeling or driving into our truck of choice, and we shove everything in there as best we can, and we get it home. So my best truck I've ever had was probably my Honda Civic hatchback that I just put the seats down in the back and threw all my tools in when I was working as a gardener, and tried to ignore the inch layer of water and mulch and everything that I had on the seats and the ground, and it did the job.
And you're probably amazed of how much stuff that you could put in that car.
Oh, you can, as long as you're willing to.
That's the other thing.
The thing. If you don't mind spilling stuff and getting things dirty, you can do just about anything.
Now, you say that gardening is the worst. Now, Luke, we have a garden show here. You're on it. We're trying to encourage people to garden, and you're telling people that gardening is the worst. What do you mean by this?
It's true that those words were spoken, but I should clarify and give the disclaimer that gardening is not the worst, and I don't actually believe that it is. But I use that as a way to kind of get a rise out of people and to kind of challenge them into thinking about what it is that we actually love about gardening and why it is we keep doing it, despite all these, dirty, hard work, bad weather, why we just keep at it all the time.
Well, I think, and you bring up the points there, it's not the worst, but it's for many of us, and some of us take it to the extreme, many of us, it's a hobby. It's our car collecting. It's our going to the bar. It's our golf game. This is what we do.
Exactly, yeah. And we wouldn't know life without it. That's just what it fills so many roles in our life, and so I think that's why we're able to overlook some of the more challenging aspects of gardening.
And with all the advances in technology that we have available, we do still have failures, and and Holly and I are the same. We are certainly happy that there are grocery stores that can make up the difference of what we were not able to grow or failed at growing in our garden.
That's true. We do rely on those from time to time, yeah.
Now, what is the best advice you would say that you would give to a new gardener, or maybe somebody who hasn't gardened yet?
Well, honestly, there is a lot of advice out there for gardeners, and this is one thing I talk about too, is that it's real easy for beginning gardeners to think that they're doing it wrong or to get overwhelmed or intimidated by all the professional advice out there. And it's really valuable to have that advice. I mean, we need to go to it when we don't know what to do, but when you become inundated with it, you kind of get paralyzed and you don't know what to do. So I think the best way people can learn to garden is to do it themselves and to get out there. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to kill a few plants. Just make sure you're learning from your mistakes. And then my final advice is for anyone who hasn't to just grow some kind of food, and you'll be an instant convert. I usually recommend something simple for people who don't have a lot of space, something like a little blueberry bush or something, and once they have that first fruit that they grew themselves, they'll be a convert.
Well, and that's the other thing, what is the saying in life? Sometimes it's better not to know the rules than to know the rules and break them or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh, you're not supposed to be able to do that. Well, I did, and it worked, so I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, that's it.
You say that plants. You say people are just like plants are just like people. Correct. Forgive me there. How so? How are plants are like people?
Yeah, and this comes from my latest book, Plants Are Terrible People, which I understand is another controversial title. But gardeners know better than anyone the ways that plants are kind of like people, for better or worse. And I think that plants are terrible, wonderful people in a lot of the same ways that real people are. And they inspire and sustain us. They can let us down. They baffle and amuse us. They grow and bloom and cast their seed, and they can die on us for any reason or no reason at all. And we get attached to our plants, and as much as we'd like to control them, they have lives of their own, and there's only so much we can do.
And we've heard stories that this, and had questions of, I've had this plant, it was my grandfather's, he passed away, how can I keep this? And it's like the heritage of part of that family's life that they're trying to live and keep alive to remember the past, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then Holly, you told the story that you have a plant that moves throughout the day at work, and people are a little freaked out about it sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, it's a thing.
Definitely. I would agree.
Yeah.
So your newest book is called Plants Are Terrible People. Can you tell us, you kind of talked about the inspiration behind it, that plants are like people. But what is your favorite part of the book, or something you want to just elaborate on for our listeners?
Well, I wanted to just, when I said about writing gardening books, I really wanted to step outside of the kind of the real serious how-to advice thing, and I wanted to give gardeners a chance to kind of celebrate and commiserate all the hilarious, absurd things, experiences that we share in the garden, because there are a lot of them. So Plants Are Terrible People is a collection of these kind of absurdities, and some of them are hypothetical situations, some of them are short stories. There's a handful of recipes in there that I would encourage no one to attempt. There are plant zombies that make an appearance. There's giant rutabagas. It's got a little bit of everything. My favorite part, and probably most pertinent to your listeners for vegetable gardeners, is it's called a reckoning, or I'm sorry, it's called Fertilize, and it's all about the indecision that vegetable gardeners suffer when we're trying to choose our seeds for the year, and the battle that wages within us about, we can't get them all. And so it just goes back and forth until we finally get the ones that we know are going to make the difference in our garden that year. But it's a process.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. And the season's over here. There's some stores and online platforms that have seeds on sale. You have 35 different varieties of tomatoes, and you only have room for 6. Some people have a very difficult time choosing. Other people are just grab random and boom, done. So it can be a very difficult challenge, and some people and Holly and I are victims of this. We overthink things, and sometimes if we keep things simple, and at the end of August or September, we don't think about, boy, I wish I would have grown 90% of the time. I wish I would have got the orange tomato instead of this one. That type of thing. That's really true. And the temptation is really bad when you work at a garden center and you sell 40 different varieties of tomatoes, which I do. And so you really got to pare it down from the start. And like you said, you're fine by the end of the season if you can keep it simple. You work at a garden center, you got 40 varieties, and you probably get a discount on your purchase. So now you're thinking, exactly. Oh boy, where can I put all these at? Yeah, it's kind of an ongoing thing at our work that who's going to grow the most tomatoes every year. And I think that my coworker grew upwards of 40 different varieties last year. So I don't know where she put them all, but yeah. Well, you being an author, I'll address this question. When did you get that authorism bug? When did you find out in life that you were like, hey, I have a story, I want to tell this story, and where or how did that journey get to the point of actually putting a book together? Well, it's been a long process. I started writing back in middle school and high school, and I've written short stories and started a dozen novels that I've abandoned. But it wasn't until I really got serious about my career in horticulture, and I realized that there's so much material here to write about, and I didn't think that anybody was doing it in quite the same way that I was. And I started out by writing a blog. And then just decided the idea for 20 Reasons Not to Garden kind of popped into my head one day, and it was something I could run with. And then once I had that format, it was pretty easy to stick to for my next book too. So I don't imagine slowing down anytime soon. There's lots more material to work with. So it's something that I love. I couldn't imagine stopping at this point. Much like gardening, it's an addiction of sorts. It is really, yeah. Well, Luke, tell us more about where we can find you. Where can we get your books at? Where can we follow your journey? Oh, sure, and thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's I have a website that's lukeruggenberg.com. That's my name. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I have Facebook pages for both of my books. My current blog is called Fence-Broke Promontory Gardens. The Kindle and print versions of both my books are available on Amazon. And then if you guys are ever in the Seattle area, I work at Ravenna Gardens, which is a wonderful independent garden center right in the city, and people come from all over the country and the world to visit there. And I'm the outdoor plant manager there, so stop by and check us out if you're ever around. Well, always, no matter where you guys are listening from around the country, always support the Independent Garden Center, because if we don't do that, they don't exist, and we've lost a tremendous amount of knowledge and good plants that we can put in our gardens. That's so true, yeah. Well, Luke, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us on the program and enlightening Holly, myself, and all of our listeners. Well, Joey and Holly, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been fun. You're very, very welcome. And when we come back, it's going to be your garden questions and our garden answers. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Send your questions in now to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Instant Access text hotline at 414-368-9311. That number again, text 414-368-9311 and send your garden question in.
Spending time scrubbing pesky dirt off your hands after gardening? Use Workman's Friend Superior Skin Cream with added barrier protection, creating a protective layer on your skin surface, allowing for easy cleanup, all while moisturizing and healing your skin. Non-greasy, fragrant-free, and fast-absorbing. Apply first, get to work, wipe clean. This friend has you covered for whatever you're getting into. Visit workmansfriendbrand.com.
Beans and Barley Marketing Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice. A health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com. Pomona's Universal Pectin is high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar, honey, or any alternative sweetener you'd like. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Available at most natural food stores and online.
Do you seek safe, effective nutrition solutions to boost your health and quality of life? Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer with 90 years of expertise. Our third-generation family-owned company proudly grows nutrient-rich ingredients at our certified organic farm in Palmyra, Wisconsin, enabling us to produce high-quality whole food solutions that change lives. For help identifying the best supplements for you, find a local healthcare professional today at standardprocess.com/patients.
Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com. Use coupon code WVG19 to get free shipping.
The Handy Safety Knife is a patented high-quality knife that's worn like a ring, so it's always conveniently at hand and very easy and efficient to work with. That's why you'll find the Handy Safety Knife at work in a wide range of industries and applications. Learn more at handysafetyknife.com.
Use coupon code WVG to get 10% off and free shipping, one-time use only at handysafetyknife.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Eco Garden Systems, Row Maker, Shield and Seal, World's Coolest Rain Gauge, Big Fats Hot Sauce, Chapin International, Drip Garden, Norwalk Juicers, Nunu Healing Ointment, Phylum Bioproducts, Soil Savvy, Tree Ripe. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Hallie Baird.
IV Organics 3-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields, prune, and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic and environmentally safe and organic. For more information, you can visit ivorganics.com, or you can send us an email through the IV Organics 3-1 Plant email inbox. That email address is twvgshow@gmail.com, and you can also send us a text on the Instant Access IV Organic 3-1 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline, and that is 414-368-9311. Again, that number is 414-368-9311.
Had some questions come in this week, and you always submit them anytime. I have a problem with mice in my garage, and I remember my grandparents saying using hedge apples to keep mice and other insects out of their basement. Is there any truth to this? Thanks, Mitch from Milwaukee. Well, the belief about using hedge apples. Now, hedge apples are a large green softball size fruit that falls from the tree that looks like a brain. It's got very coarse texture to the outer portion of it. The belief of using hedge apples as an insect control is a widely spread, basically myth, perception. It is claimed that placing hedge apples around the foundation of your basement will repel and control insects. A few years ago, Iowa State University did some studies on this and found they
will repel insects. But they also found that the compounds of the fruit were too low to be an effective repellent.
There's not enough in there.
Yeah. So you could try, but it's not going to necessarily be effective. If you like hedge apples,
they make a great decor, but to put them around or in your basement or around your garage or wherever to repel mice or other insects simply is not the case. They are not edible, and the juices can be irritating to your skin too.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Not.
Yeah.
So it's funny is I did this volunteer thing for work, and earlier this year I was in my work newsletter talking about the radio show, and then we gave a talk there. And when I was volunteering, a couple of people came up to me and said, I just have some gardening questions. I want to talk to you about my garden. And do you get sick of that? And it's like, no, never. I never get sick of it. But my coworker, I used to work with her in a different department. She had a question. She wanted to know, she grew zucchini in a shadier spot this year. It didn't do as well this year as in the past, and she wanted to know the reason why.
Well, number one, zucchini is a full sun plant, and you want to give it a good nutrient-rich soil, and you do not want to plant it in the same spot in which you had it the previous year or other varieties in it from the previous year. So also you want to have a lot of space. Planting it in the partial shade can also increase the opportunity of powdery mildew getting on the plant because the sun cannot properly dry off the leaves, and then the mildew forms and it chokes the plant out from the sun photosynthesizing on the actual plant itself. So keep that in mind with any vegetation. Know what it is required and how to grow it. The seed packet will indicate, and we have the technology, internet's on computers now, so we can look it up very easily on what a plant is good to be planted where and where it shouldn't be planted. Now, the experimental aspect or the curiosity aspect of our garden, as gardeners, we can experiment if we have X amount of plants in a certain area and we know that will be good, and we have a shadier spot and we have excess plants, we can always put them there and see how that particular plant or variety does in a less light required location than what it should be needed to grow.
She also had another question about an old bookshelf turned on its side to grow in. So basically like a makeshift raised bed or garden box. Should she use that bookshelf?
Well, if the bookshelf is made out of particle board, which is the majority of all of these pressed together furniture that we buy now, do not use that because there's a high toxicity level of the glue that presses that sawdust together that makes the actual boards. And if you do use a bookshelf and it's of solid wood, a 2x6, a 2x8, a 1x, whatever the case is, that's fine. You would want to remove the backing of that particular bookshelf if it has a backing, so the soil web and microbial life can go from one location to the other. It's not like a raised bed. Now, if you're doing it on a pavement, then you'd have to leave the backing on. That's perfectly fine. But all best things is remove that back. The problem with the particle board, in addition to the toxicity, is when you get a particle board or that furniture wet, it explodes basically. Right. So it's not going to last more than 2 rainfalls, and it's going to disintegrate on you.
Right. So this was a solid wood one that she had acquired.
So we're okay with that. But keep that in mind. People also use ladders, solid wooden ladders, lay them down, not necessarily for vegetable growing, but for landscape decor, and put flowers in it, and they paint the ladder different colors, and the ladder's physically laying on the ground, but the rungs are different beds of that.
We always appreciate all the questions that we always get in and answer for you. Next question. I have had the worst trouble getting Swiss Chard to grow in the past, but this year I finally got it to grow. successfully and plentifully. What can I do with Swiss Chard? Well, there's a number of things in which you can do. Anything that you can do with spinach, you can substitute spinach with Swiss Chard. Now, there's also things that there's such a recipe as called pickled Swiss Chard stems. We did not find that to be appetizing at all. It was almost like pickled celery. It was not great, but the leaves of the plant are very tasty. And there's red varieties, burgundy, yellow, white, rainbow colors. All the texture of the leaves and the flavor is all the same. It's just a different color stem is what we have found. Also, you can use it in stir fries. You can use it in salads. What we have found is a neat little thing. You can take the giant leaf and cut the center stem out of it, and then take and put your favorite shredded cheese in that leaf, roll it up like a burrito, and then either hit it on the grill for a few minutes until that cheese melts, or in the microwave for about 15-20 seconds. You also may want to put a toothpick in there to hold the wrap together, and then that you have a really cool cheese Swiss Chard burrito, and you can do that very different ways there, but either on the grill or in the microwave seems to work best, and it works really well. So Swiss Chard, a lot of different things you can do with it. It's a very cool, hardy plant. Now, it's not going to handle 20 degrees for days on end, but a light frost does not hurt this plant, and it can be grown very early in the spring or very late in the fall. In containers, raised beds, and in the ground. So we find it very versatile, and it's very rewarding. Next question is, I had harvested my carrots, and they weren't very big this year. I had them in a raised bed, and they were very hairy. What gives? What can I do? Well, if they're hairy, it is a lack of moisture. They are creating those hair follicles, or those roots, essentially what that is, in order to grasp every piece of moisture they could possibly get. You want loose soil, you want full sun, you want a lot of space between them. I mean, not like feet, but 2 or 3 inches at most, an inch, whatever the case is, between the carrots so they don't crowd each other. But you want to keep the moisture in. Once they've established a growth, you can mulch them with shredded leaves, straw, chemical-free grass clippings, something like that, and you'll have better carrots next year. Before we get into what's coming up next week on the program, Holly, remind them about the executive sponsor.
The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is Power Planter. Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA, we offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Coming up next week on the program, it's our final show of Season 3, and we'll be discussing chores that you need to get done in the garden before winter hits. There's a list of them, and freezer meals. Plus, our guest, motivational speaker, author, and gardener, Carrie Wilt, will be with us, plus your garden questions. It's our final show. Do not miss it. Tell a friend, and let's all grow together. Miss any portion of this program or want to revisit it in its entirety, you can do that in a couple of different ways. One, by going to your favorite podcast-providing website and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. You can also go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, clicking on the radio tab at the top of the page for full length, or the highlight tab on the right-hand side for segments of all past shows. Until next week, for Holly Baird, I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
You have been listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Tell a friend and join Joey and Holly again next week so we can all grow together. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is a production of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in association with WI Garden Media Broadcast live from the WNOV 860 AM and the W293CX 106.5 FM. Courier Communication Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.